Are there any particular trees that would work? Can you give me examples of good trees to use? I don't know if you have to break up, different parts of the country. You talked about Washington, D.C., but is there like a typical tree anybody can use?
I mean, oaks grow in almost all the country. They're not necessarily the fastest growing trees, but they provide a nice shade. One tree that is interesting, one thing you can look at, there's some tables on when the trees leaf out and when the trees shed their leaves. And the black walnut actually is one of the last trees to leaf out in the spring and one of the first trees to shed its leaves in the fall. So basically what that means, you're going to get the heat from the sun as long as possible when you need it until the spring, and then they'll drop their leaves very early in the fall when you need the heat as well. So you typically would not want something like a willow oak that holds its leaves for almost, until like midwinter, because in the winter you really want the heat to come in. So the main factor that you could look at is when the trees leaf out and when the trees drop their leaves, and try and find one that corresponds to the heating and cooling seasons in your area.
Or talk to a plant biologist like you, or go to the garden center.
Go to the garden center, and really, any good tree that grows well and fast in your area will help cool your house quite a bit. Well, this is interesting. This is an elderberry tree, and it's kind of between a shrub and a tree, but it's very fast growing, and I think it worked really well because it can grow really quickly, and you could plant it on the west side of your house and it would give you some cooling. It depends. If you have like a 3-story house, these only get to about 15 to 20 feet tall, but they're very fast growing, and so I think it would be a really interesting choice for something that would provide some quick benefits. And it also has berries that the birds love, and you can make them into jam and wine and so on. But it's just an interesting tree that's growing here. You need trees that can handle the heat, that can really handle hot, dry conditions. So oftentimes, there's a dogwood here, but that really wouldn't do so well. Japanese maple wouldn't do so well. But oaks, tulip poplars, and then fig trees are great. I love figs for the south side of a house because fig trees provide fruit. They're fast growing, they're tough, they can handle the hot and dry conditions, and they can get about 15 feet tall, and it's much harder to grow them unless you're in a nice microclimate like the south side of your house. So I highly recommend planting figs in kind of this zone 7, zone 6B area.
Okay, well let's go find a fig tree if you don't mind.
Let's do that. I guess we'll come around this way. These are branches from a pussy willow, which people often use ornamentally, but willows are very fast-growing trees, and so they could definitely be a good candidate for planting on the south or west side of your house. One great option is grapevines. They can grow really fast, so if you build up a trellis, if you want something that's much faster than a tree, you plant your tree, and then in the meantime, put up a trellis, grow some grapevines on it. It will cool your walls like you wouldn't believe. So here we have a fig tree. I believe this is a yellow fig, which you really can't grow in Washington very easily. Mostly you see brown turkeys here, but because this is on the south side of the house where it gets that nice microclimate, you can see how well it's doing. And it's not only providing fruit, and it's also cooling your house, so you really can't beat it.